And we're live. What is up, everyone? It is 7 p.m. on Wednesday, August 6th, 2014, the very first episode of Linux Tech and Gaming. And, haha, my two co-hosts are not here. So this is a little silly doing a podcast by myself. I don't know where they are. Bear with me. They should be on their way. So, how is everybody doing tonight? We're just going to do the podcast using Google Hangouts for now. That could change in the future. You know, we're just going to have it be audio, no webcams, just for now. You know, that might change over time. So, you know, tonight is kind of like a little, you know, trying to figure this all out, get our audio levels good, and you know, ensure that everything's working the way we want it. We have some topics that we'd like to discuss, but of course, I need my partners in crime here to do a podcast. Certainly can't do a podcast alone. That just will not work. So, yeah, this is a little awkward.
Yeah.
What is up, Osiris?
What's up?
There's one of my partners in crime. He decided to show up.
Had some technical difficulties.
It seems like it's always, whenever you really, really need something to work, it's not going to do it.
Exactly.
I don't have my video camera on. Oh, you just turned yours off. All right.
Oh, no.
Cool beans.
Let me see here.
No, you did it right. No, you had your video camera on and you just turned it off, so now it's just your picture, so that's all good.
No, because, well, just because this account is different than SARS Tech account. Well, this is the same account, but it's confusing. It's retarded.
All right. It's all good.
Basically, whenever I like interact online, I use my SARS Tech account, which is under this account. But for some reason, it just automatically logged me into this account. So I don't know.
All right.
Yeah,
I know. You Google's. I don't know what's with Google. Like, for some reason, I have another YouTube channel that has 0, you know, uploads, and it's like it's like almost the same as, it's like Ubu the Tech Guru, but it doesn't have spaces in it. It really confuses me, and I think that's like the Google Plus page, or the Google like there's a Google Plus profile and then there's a Google Plus page, and I guess they're different.
Yeah, I'd be lying if I said I knew what it meant.
Yeah, it's really weird. I don't know what, you know, that whole when Google or when YouTube integrated Google Plus into the comments, everything got really weird with accounts and everything. I don't understand it.
I'm not gonna try.
Yeah, right. Well, we're just waiting on Atomic. He didn't say he wasn't coming, so I don't know what's going on with him.
I don't know. I haven't heard from him today. Let's see.
It says.
That says, how do I join it?
I gave him the link.
I don't think he might not have checked his DM.
Right. Yeah, that's probably it. So you see everybody bitching about Twitch are muting people's audio because it's copyrighted material?
I saw something about that, but it wasn't sure what that really meant. I didn't know that was the context of the conversation. You know what? That is very funny. Because Google now owns Twitch, and somehow I knew that was going to come. one way or the other.
Hello.
Hey, what's
Hola,
up?
mi amigo.
There's the other partner in crime. I did, for the record, I was live at exactly 7 p.m. today.
I was here at
By myself.
7:01. Yeah, that's crazy. But I'm not even surprised one bit in the least that Google came in and immediately started waving around their big Google wand.
Yeah,
What
right.
did it take? Less than a week?
Yeah, right. Like
Right.
they didn't even give nobody time to even say, "Hey, what's going on?"
Yeah. Well, all right, since we're all here now, we might as well get this podcast going. So our thought was that we would just do Linux technology and gaming podcast, and it's us three, myself, Ubu the Tech Guru, we got Osiris Tech, and we have the Atomic Ass. The links to each of our YouTube channels are down in the description, if that all worked correctly, like it should have. So I guess the first thing we'll do is the introductions. I'm Ubu the Tech Guru, and those of you, I'm sure that some of you are already familiar with me since this is being streamed on my YouTube channel, and we just thought we would do it on my channel just because Osiris thought, since I had the highest subscriber count, that we would maybe get, the most amount of exposure using my channel. Hopefully that's the case. Right now we're just doing it on Google Hangouts in audio only to start out. That can change over time, but so make sure you follow me on. Check out my social media sites: Ubu the Tech Guru, Ubuntu Addicted on Twitter, Facebook, Hitbox, and that's about it for my introduction. So why don't we move it over to Osiris?
Okay, I'm Osiris, and you can find me on Twitter at Osiris, OSIREZ, and on YouTube just search Osiris Tech, and you should find me pretty easily. URL problems with Google, we'll just say that. And no Facebook for me. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I lost my Google Hangouts Chrome thing. Yeah, so on my channel, I do mostly gaming and how-tos and tutorials, much like Ubu does, more or less. And just looking at, we just have fun. That's what it's about.
All right, Atomic, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. I'm on YouTube as well, and I have a small series where I review Linux games to see how well they run on Linux. And you can find me on Twitter, very infrequently on Google+.
Yeah, I hear that. All right, well, those are the introductions. This is our first time ever doing a podcast. So if if we stumble along the way, or if something doesn't go quite right, you're going to have to bear with us since we are new to the podcasting. I do live stream, or I did live stream for quite a few months, and I took a short little break. I've been off of gaming and live streaming for maybe almost 2 months now, and I'm just starting to get back into it. And this was actually Osiris's idea to get together and talk about Linux gaming and Linux technology, just because there's really not that many other people talking about Linux gaming. We actually got together just recently on Sunday night or Monday night, and we were kind of shooting the breeze and talking about how many, if you go to YouTube or you go to Google, you type in Linux gaming, there's really not that many huge websites. There was only like a few that were really big, and so we thought, what the heck, we need to do something about that. So we might as well get some people together and talk about Linux gaming. I'm going to tweet out the stream here, so bear with me. Somebody fill in the white space here, or the white air.
Might as well all tweet it out.
Okay, yeah, that was kind of my thinking too. Was the overwhelming and very noticeable lack of Linux gaming information that is out there. I know there's communities out there and some sites like Steamlug who do good work as far as Steam Linux gaming goes and putting together actual events and all that good stuff. And then of course there's the off-colored guys at Linux Gamecast who they've been doing this for years, and they do great production work and great work, but there's just not any information as far as Linux gaming goes. You have gamingonlinux.com, I believe. They do they're pretty up to date on news articles as far as that goes. But you know, as far as news goes, I like to get a variety of news always off the internet because you can't trust one source all the time.
Right. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
You can't trust all sources most of the time.
Exactly. So I always like that. Matter of fact, my rule on the internet is to triple check any piece of information that I get. And if 3 sources say it's the same thing, I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah. So we put together some topics, and we already went through the introductions. Why don't we'll just jump right into the first topic here, and it's about GOG.com, adding Linux support as the open source OS continues its march towards gaming relevancy. Why don't you speak on that a little bit, Osiris? I think you did a little bit of research on it.
Yeah. Okay. So the major news portion of this is that GOG.com, or good old gaming.com, was very reluctant in giving Linux gamers any support for whatever their reasons may have been. I don't know. And they said they pretty much wasn't going to happen. And then they announced some like Steam type of client recently. I think it was at E3. And then they said there was going to be Linux support. This is good for gamers because of the fact that there's retro gaming, lots of retro gaming on GOG.com. All the basically good old games, you know, Doom, Wolfenstein, all the can't even think of the name of them now. Return to Zork and Myst and all that stuff. The games we grew up on. If you're over 25.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say clear. I'm not gonna date myself, but yeah, if you're over 25, games that we basically grew up on as PC gamers and gamers in general. So this is awesome. Hopefully they don't go the route of halfway giving us the halfway port route, giving us nonsense wine wrappers that don't have work, and we'll just have to see. But all news is good news right now in Linux gaming.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the article, they launched already with 50 games already working for Linux, and they plan to have 100 by this fall.
Yeah,
I mean, that's awesome news right there.
yeah, and they also launch new games too. AAA titles have been launched on GOG.com. There's speculation of The Witcher 3 being launched through GOG with Linux support at the time of launch, but we will see.
That would be huge. I mean, I know The Witcher 2 is suffering some people complaining about the wrapper that it has. It's like an Eon wrapper, similar to Wine, where it does calls and whatnot that are supposed to make it work within Linux. And for some people, it's the graphics drivers that are holding it back. Basically, it doesn't work very well on some people's machines. I know on mine, I have the GTX 760, with the latest NVIDIA website binary drivers, and I'm just barely pulling 30 frames per second with everything on ultra except for Uber sampling turned off. That's like a major killer. I was like down to 5 frames per second when I tried to have the Uber sampling on.
Yeah, that's a major problem in general to me. Is we're all, of course, happy that developers and publishers are recognizing Linux as a platform, but they don't want to dive all in with financially. So they're giving us a lot of halfway ports, a lot of not all the way conceived ports from Unity. Hopefully, as the platform grows, the financial dedication will grow along with it. And I believe that's all it is. I don't think it's a dislike for the platform. Of course, it's a business. So hopefully, as they profit from it, they'll dedicate more resources towards it. And Steam OS, or not Steam Machines should hopefully help a lot of that along.
Yeah, didn't the Steam Machines get pushed back? Weren't they supposed to be already released?
2015, sometime 2015 now. They
Okay.
redid the controllers. They got a completely new design because they had a touchpad in the middle and the two thumb pads, whatever they are.
Yeah.
And now they put a little analog directional pad on it and took the touchpad off.
Huh.
And then I think they're also like working out OEM licensing and all that good stuff, which is good because I'm under the belief that Valve doesn't halfway do things. So if they postponed it, it has to be for a good reason, and I think it'll have some type of success.
Yeah, I hope so. There was a lot of huge coverage at CES 2000 or earlier this year. CES is in January, is it? I'm trying to remember.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and there was huge, everybody was talking about the Steam machines and the Steam box. A lot of news came out earlier, and I don't know, I think sadly it kind of just died away. You still have Steam OS out there. You can install Steam OS right now on any type of machine you want, and I think originally it didn't work very well with Intel graphics, or maybe it did. I don't know, but there's been quite a bit of work, with Steam OS and trying to get that as a viable operating system to kind of pave the way for Steam machines, because it's going to be a huge adder to basically help Linux gaming get more exposure.
I think Valve did the best thing, made the best choice possible, which was to make the Steam application its own environment. So that's why it works so well across all the Linux distros, because all the calls are made to Steam directly, more or less. And I think Windows and the Linux one parity each other pretty closely. So that makes Steam in general pretty platform agnostic.
Was it just Steam OS that was having trouble with Intel drivers, and not just the client? Because I didn't have any trouble with the client.
It was the OS because of the way they built it on Debian and added the driver support. I think it was also AMD. I think AMD guys were having problems also.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of those kinks have kind of worked themselves out by now, with SteamOS. So, it's definitely, what? I wonder, can you do a USB install of SteamOS? Do you guys know?
Yeah, you can.
You can. Okay. I've been wanting to try out SteamOS on one of my rigs, just so that I could do a YouTube video on it and kind of give some coverage to it. And I don't know, I've been dragging my feet. I haven't even installed SteamOS yet. Obviously, I run the Steam client on my Ubuntu 14.04, Xubuntu 14.04 system, but I haven't tried out SteamOS yet, as an operating system.
I just caught a scorpion on my monitor.
Wait, what?
Good old Texas. I just
You,
caught a scorpion on my monitor.
holy shit! A real scorpion.
Yeah, he's a tiny one, but it's a scorpion nonetheless. Hold
Damn.
on while I go dispose of him. I'll be
Wow.
right back.
Jeez, holy shit.
Yeah, well, just don't get stung by him.
Right?
All right, he's gone. He had to move out.
Was he drinking tequila?
He must have been drunk to jump on my monitor and not to think he wasn't going to get taken care of. Yeah, he was definitely a scorpion, though.
I can't believe you just got fucking scorpions walking around your house.
Yeah, this is Texas. We have a bug problem. I don't even know if they're considered bugs, but we have a thing problem. There's always something.
They're an
Wow.
arachnid, actually.
What's that?
They're an
Arachnid.
arachnid.
Yeah, well,
So
see, I
it's
consider
bug.
spiders bugs too, so
Well, it is
they're
a bug,
bugs too.
yeah.
Yes,
Right.
they're bugs. They're definitely not my friends. Yeah, we got all kinds of weird stuff, but that's Texas. Any Texan will know about those. Well, the southerner actually, because I'm sure it's an issue across the south.
Yeah, we're both northerners.
Yeah, well, you guys enjoy because it is like it's just weird because you'll have flies and mosquitoes. Everything comes to your barbecue uninvited. Ants, like huge ants, fire ants. I've seen a friend of mine's kid get mauled by fire ants, and that's not a beautiful thing.
Oh, yeah, that I can't imagine. Jeez.
Yeah. So, great stuff down here. Come visit anytime.
So this GOG adding support for Linux, is that is that they add? I know they're. Are we going to talk about Galaxy, which is kind of like their client?
See, there was no real mention of Galaxy and Linux support, not that I've seen. I don't know what that means exactly. I do know what it does mean. It means that you can download your games from GOG, and they'll have an installer for Linux. That much has already been proven because I've done that. Now Galaxy, their Steam Lite client, I don't know because I don't see any mention of that. Or
I haven't
anybody.
even seen the client itself. Is it even released for Windows?
Yeah, that I don't think so yet.
Yeah.
And I'd be really surprised if it does have Linux support, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm trying to read the article a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, there's not too much. I don't even think that GOG released a lot of information for
Right.
anybody to bite onto. So there's really not much to say about, except for the fact that anybody who's distributing games to Linux is already winning. You know, because any place we can buy more games from is better.
Right, definitely.
Because what has it been now? About 2 years? 2 years ago, you couldn't buy any games for Linux. I don't think there was any corporate published games for Linux 2 years ago that I know of.
Wow, that's saying something. I mean, in 2 years for them to come to where they're at now is huge, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely. That was definitely a big complaining point for Linux users. I mean, you know, we had the regular open source stuff like TextCart and Xenotic and all those games, but there's definitely no AAA support at all. There was definitely not the indie push that we're getting now. All that good stuff, and I think that's where GOG fills in a spot that Valve does not fill in, and that's the older retro titles, and also an alternative place to buy games from, because it's always good to have a choice.
Right. I know one thing that's kind of stands out in this article is it says like I said, GOG already has 50 titles for Linux already, and they're going to have 50 more, which total of 100 by this autumn. But 23 of the titles are officially Linux compatible for the first time ever, thanks to GOG-made custom builds and the hard work of its cracking team of testers. So I mean, that's pretty cool that 23 of the titles are made Linux compatible for the first time ever. I wish they had some of the games in a list to see which ones they were. Well, I believe I tweeted that out when GOG first made this announcement. I tweeted out a short list of games.
There's a list of the total games. I can pull that up for you and link it. But people also need to go and buy with the idea of buyer beware, because a lot of these games are DOS box games, and a lot of these games are, and the ones that are not DOS a lot of them are Wine. They'll customize the Wine wrapper to make sure it works and almost make it transparent.
Okay.
But if you have Wine problems, it will no longer be transparent.
Right.
So buyer beware, of course.
Sure. So I guess that is something major to point out, that just because it's Linux compatible doesn't mean it's a native port or a native version of the game. It still might be wrapped in a wrapper, like we saw with The Witcher 2. And that's not a dig on it or anything, but it is something to point out, that it's not a native game. I mean, if it works and it's transparent, like you're saying, you click run the game and it runs, then it's all good. It doesn't matter really.
Yeah, I don't really care. There's people out there who care that if it's Wine wrapped or not. I don't personally care as long as it works. But Wine can introduce its own problems depending on your hardware. So some people shouldn't know that.
Right, definitely. I mean, for those people that don't understand what we're talking about, it's like a compatibility layer between the game and the hardware. So Wine basically is it's like Wine is like emulating direct 3D calls and stuff, and then Wine is converting those to something that the Linux operating system can work with. I think. I mean, in a high level sense.
Yeah, basically it's taking Windows calls and making them Linux calls to make it really simple.
Right. Okay. Sure.
But yeah, I don't really care about all that technical difficulties and all that other stuff, because some people are really open source driven. Like, I only want open source stuff on my computer, or I only want native stuff on my computer, etc., etc. Doesn't matter. It's a computer. As long as it works, I don't care. And the fact that they acknowledge the Linux platform and are bringing us games is a huge service for all of us, and creates more competition, more places to buy things, and as far as the retro games, more games for PC gamers. Like, you shouldn't play PC games if you've never played games like Monkey Island. And so if you haven't, you need to go back and go get those games.
Yeah.
Neverwinter Nights is a good game. Like, these are all games that are still worth looking into and playing, and they're usually pretty affordable on good old games.
I don't think I knew that GOG stood for good old games.
Oh yeah, because when they first came out, that's all they had was good old games.
It took me a while to figure that one out too.
Yeah, because even before Steam came out for Linux, Linux users were getting games from good old games, because DOS box games pretty much work out the box too. That's why there's so many of them that just work, because DOS box works the same on Linux pretty much as it does on Windows, as far as I know. So Linux games, it does?
Oh yeah.
Okay, we'll see.
But I've got the Seventh Guest, and that's actually in DOSBox on Windows because it doesn't run on Windows anymore.
Wow, I didn't even know the game was that old. I remember that game too.
1993.
Whoa. Well, there you go.
It's old enough to drink.
Yeah, that is
Right.
true.
Oh, I see they got Escapegoat and Escapegoat 2. Glog had bought me those, and I installed them from the Steam client and tried. It's kind of like a puzzle game. I tried that game out a couple times. Scapegoat. It's just a funny little kind of puzzle game type thing. I tried out Duke Nukem 3D Atomic Edition, and I don't know. I was having graphics issues on my rig, which I was kind of surprised about. I would think a game like that would just work, but I don't know. I was having issues.
I tried. That's one of the games I did try out, and it worked fine for me, except for DOSBox in general doesn't have multi-monitoring support. So when I launched it, all my other monitors just shut off, which was weird. It caused a slight panic. I was like, oh, whoa, what's going on here? When you see stuff turn off by themselves, you usually get panicked a little bit. So
Yeah.
that's something to remember for people with multiple monitors too.
Yeah, I run multiple monitors now, and that's kind of one of my pet peeves is don't turn off my monitors.
Yeah, I did it. There's a pretty easy way to fix it if I remember correctly, but I don't know why that defaults to that. Well, I do know why it defaults to that, but I don't know why they implemented it that way. But yeah,
I know originally The Witcher 2 had multi-monitor issues where I couldn't get it to launch on my main display and be a resolution of 1920 by 1080, and it was because the game would only query the X server monitor that was at 0,0. So that would be my monitor that's all the way on the left. So the max I could play The Witcher 2 in was like 1400 by 900 or 1440 by 900 or I don't know, something not 1920 by 1080. And they've since, The Witcher 2 has since, I believe, patched it for multi-monitor support. I just haven't fired up The Witcher 2 in a long time, so I'm not sure how the multi-monitor support has been fixed or not.
yeah, I think that's one of the weak links of the aging underlying technology of Linux. XOR
Yeah,
the shell systems been around since as long as I can remember. And I've been using Linux since 1999.
Yeah, I've been using it since, I'm trying to think, Breezy Badger, whenever that came out. Somebody gave me a CD with Breezy Badger on it, and they were like, "Here, put this in your computer and tell your BIOS to boot to the CD, and tell me what you think." So of course I got home from work that day and did what he said, and I was like, "Holy shit, what is this? A whole operating system, and it's free!" And I fell in love with that right when I tried it. I was just like, "Oh man, this is awesome." So Breezy Badger came out in, I'm trying to see if it says in here, 2005. Yeah, 2005. So I've been using it about 9 years.
Oh, just in case you didn't know, the version numbers after Ubuntu are the year that they came out. So
okay. 5
Breezy,
point, yeah, that's release 5.10, I think Breezy Badger was, or 5.04.
Yeah.
Huh.
So
Look at that.
You know what's funny? I just realized that. Because I was looking for the date too, and I realized there was Ubuntu 5, and it came out in 2005, and we're on Ubuntu 14 something, 1404.
Yep, 1404. You're right. Well, that's pretty cool. They released the 04 probably in April, and then the .10 in October. Look at that! Holy shit!
Oh yeah,
It actually makes sense.
Yeah, the point releases are also the month.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was just saying. That's pretty cool.
Wow, you guys just realized that?
Yeah.
Well,
Sorry, man.
I'm not a long time Ubuntu user. I started out on Mandrake and Red Hat.
Mandrake. Red Hat.
Yeah, Mandrake doesn't exist anymore. It became Mandriva, and once it became Mandriva, it kind of went away. But that Mandrake and Red Hat used to be what Ubuntu and Arch is now.
All right. Hmm. Okay. Well, the next. Well, you can say Atomic. Anything?
Yeah, I remember trying to get into Linux back in right around the turn of the century. I tried out Red Hat, I think 5.2. I could not find anywhere in the documentation to issue the command start X. So guess where I sat at after I installed it?
The terminal. You said console. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a
Yeah.
problem. I will say
Yeah,
that
live CDs have really helped get it out there. Now
Oh,
I know
yeah,
what I'm doing,
sure.
but
Definitely.
yeah, I was gonna say since 2000-ish, Linux as a desktop has come light years and light years. Just since 2006, it's come light years. As far as usability, ease of use, productivity, stability, all the things that a normal user would rather not think about. I have zero. I have as long as I'm doing normal people things on my computer, I usually have zero problems.
Right. Yep.
It's just when I start doing my things, I start having problems, which I can't complain about too much because, no operating system is perfect. I have problems on every operating system because I'm always breaking it.
Right. Pushing it to its limits. Yep. That's what we do.
Exactly. Then we put it on YouTube, how to fix it, so everybody else can have fun. I don't have to go through the fun of fixing it like I did or we did.
Yeah, but I think that's the whole reason I've learned Linux as much as I have is by breaking it and then doing all this research and reading about it through multiple Google searches and forums and IRC channels and that's the only reason I think I'm as comfortable as I am in willing to try out anything because of the community. I think is one thing that's hands down like awesome, I think.
Outstanding. Proof and point would be when the Unreal Engine was announced. The Linux community ported it before the Unreal guys could port it. They fix so many problems. They create so much software. It's almost unbelievable the amount of content and stuff, that material that we get without any corporate backing.
Yeah, there's something to be said there for sure. Definitely. I mean, look at the open source driver for AMD. I think that's getting almost as good as the proprietary one from AMD because the community, is working on it more than the damn corporation is.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
That is
huge.
something that can't be denied. The AMD drivers are something to be desired on Linux platform, especially when a 290X is being beat by an NVIDIA GTX 760, which is half the price, less than half the price.
Right.
I'm hoping AMD gets it together. Well, AMD has some issues on Windows too, as far as drivers. So I don't know if that has anything to do with their decisions or their problems or whatever. But hopefully they can get that fixed because that makes them almost not even an option as far as gaming hardware goes. Unless you can find an old 7000 series or 6000 series for really cheap, I can't even recommend you buy an AMD GPU at this point if you're going to game on Linux. You're going to spend more time trying to fix it than you are going to play on it.
Right. Yeah, and hopefully we see some major improvements, with the Steam machines coming in 2015. Hopefully that we don't have to say that anymore. Hopefully we don't have to say, yeah, go with NVIDIA over AMD if you're going to want a game. Hopefully we don't have to say that. Hopefully they're both comparable and the consumer can buy whichever brand they may prefer. But yeah, currently as it stands right now, if somebody were to ask me what kind of graphics card they should get and they were going to game in Linux, I say NVIDIA every time for sure.
It's very ironic though, because AMD is a much bigger supporter of the open source world than NVIDIA will ever be. They create a lot of standards, open source standards too. So I don't understand why AMD is sleeping at the wheel on this one.
In regards to open source drivers, one thing I've been consistently disappointed with is the lack of any control panel like you have in the proprietary drivers. Intel specifically, since you don't have a proprietary driver on Linux, one thing that the proprietary driver on Windows can do with HDMI is the scaling.
Oh yeah, that's a problem.
And I've found a couple of TVs that I just can't get a proper picture on with my laptop because I can't control the scaling.
I didn't even think about that. That's a good point. And I don't understand. Like, that's something I think a lot of Linux needs to come to start incorporating is get rid of the need to have a terminal whatsoever. I understand there's power users and super users who can use terminal like keyboard ninjas, but most of us don't want or need to use the terminal if need not be. There's a lot of things you can do in Windows in the terminal too. Most people don't even know about because there's no need for it. There's almost just, so if it can be done, there should be a GUI option for it. I agree with him on that. Especially something as fundamental as a driver.
I mean, I could deal with command line, and I wouldn't have a problem with it if there was any facility there for it. Overscan is what I was speaking of. You can't even control that in the command line because there's no way to pass that information to the driver.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's a shortcoming of the driver, like you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had to kludge around in Xrandr to try to figure that thing out.
Oh yeah. I know that's a lot of fun.
And you know what? I've come to a solution after 3 years. A 1080p TV, or I have to build special mode at 1366 by 768.
Oh Lord. It's 2014. That shouldn't be the final decision.
Right. Yeah. You should not have to create mode lines to get frickin' your Linux to display on a proper display. I mean, I don't know. Are those things being addressed with either Mir or Wayland? I know those are new display servers, right?
I think they are, because then it won't even be a problem because Mir and Wayland will automatically handle those things, I believe.
Well, let's hope. Shit.
On the flip side of that coin, the TVs that I've been trying to deal with are 2009 and earlier. So maybe it's just first generation HDMI.
Yeah, where they don't do the proper handshake, probably, and pass the correct information back to the video card, so it gets confused. Yeah.
I have an underscan problem with my HP monitor, also, Atomic. So I know what you mean. And I've had the NVIDIA card in my computer and the AMD card in my computer, and the NVIDIA drivers automatically scan it to the proper size, whereas the AMD drivers will make it shrink so it's not the full size of my monitor, and you have to go in. At least there is an option in the GUI to change it, but it doesn't automatically just recognize that it's 1080p. It's not an old HP monitor either, so I think it's still. And when I googled it to try to fix it, it seems to be still a common problem with HDMI.
Yeah, it's a problem that should never have been.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Well, all right, if we're moving down the list here, Linux, our next topic here is Linux will not become a gaming platform because it already is one. So Osiris found this article here, posted on networkworld.com, And well, I don't know. Expand on it a little bit, Osiris.
Yeah, so it was written by Brian Landuke, which some of y'all may already know, or Lunduke. I don't know if I'm saying his name right. I don't know. This page doesn't want to load for me. What's going on here? Uh, so he has a very off-colored way of writing his articles and thinking about stuff in general. So basically, his point is that Linux doesn't need to become a Linux or gaming platform because it already is a gaming platform because people game on it. uh, and in context, what that really means is if you've been a long-time Linux user, then everybody has been saying that if only Linux could get gaming, or if only Linux could get this, then it will become the desktop. This will be the year of the Linux. That phrase has been thrown around for many years now, and his point is that we don't need to think about what could be or should be because it already is. If you're gaming on your Linux desktop, then it is a gaming platform. Just like people who game on Xbox make it a gaming platform. I thought it was kind of humorous in his own little off-colored way, and definitely he's definitely worth reading.
Yeah, and my proof of this is in the list of most sold games of all time. There are only 2 PC games in there, and the number one PC game of all time, Minecraft, is on Linux.
There you go. Which is funny because on my channel, I never mentioned Minecraft. I have never even played Minecraft. But it seems like an overwhelming majority of the people who've come to view my videos are Minecraft players. So I think that says something. Minecraft is definitely a force to be reckoned with.
Oh yeah, I mean, the explosion that Minecraft is just insane if you think about it. I mean, I know we're kind of getting a little bit off topic, but before CNanners or Sark or whoever that YouTuber was, before he did any Minecraft videos, you know, Minecraft was nothing. It was an indie title that, you know, that was like nothing. I mean, you know, you could pick any indie title out there right now that has no exposure at all, and you take one YouTuber and that's big enough with a big enough audience and make a video of it, and it's just insane to look at, you know, the numbers now. That's crazy.
And to make it all relevant, you can play that easily on Linux.
Right, exactly.
I believe it's Java driven.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
Java based.
There you go.
I mean, the cool part about that as well is it's pretty easy to set up your own Minecraft server in Linux as well. I actually run my own server just for, you know, a few friends and myself. Atomic's one of the guys that's on my Minecraft server, and he actually is doing a build, you know, in the Minecraft world, and he's got a bunch of videos on his YouTube channel. So make sure you go check out the Atomic Ass's YouTube channel and some of his videos of his latest Minecraft build on UbuCraft. I'm calling it UbuCraft, just like every other YouTuber out there that has a Minecraft world. You know, they just call it whatever and then craft. So, but it's you know, Minecraft can be a lot of fun. You know, when I first heard about it and saw it, I thought, like, why would I want to do that? Work with, you know, little 1-inch by 1-inch squares. How is that fun? You know. But as soon as I actually got into the world and had to survive, you know, there's 2 different game modes. There's survival, and then there's like just building type. So you know, I chose the survival type world, and as soon as I got in there, it was just, I don't know. It's just, if you have a good imagination, Minecraft can be a lot of fun. I mean, the stuff that you can build in there is crazy. People have built like real to scale size like planes, and I mean, you can go on YouTube and, you know, type in whatever you want as far as like Minecraft crazy builds, and you'll see some amazing stuff. I mean, and that is just awesome in my opinion. And hopefully Minecraft is giving Linux gaming some exposure because, like Osiris said, it does work in Linux. I mean, that's great.
Yeah, and there's something to be said about a very popular game like that being on Linux. So if you're a Minecraft player and you're on Windows and you go to upgrade your computer and you have a pretty strict budget, you might want to ask the operating system out of the build, i.e. Windows, to save yourself $99 or however much it's going to cost you to throw that in there, because I know people who play Minecraft probably dedicate a lot of time to it and probably don't play too many other games on top of that. The hardcore dedicated Minecraft community.
I can attest to that.
I can imagine, because I've seen some of the builds and it has to take a long time to do some of that stuff. Even in, like, isn't there a God mode or something?
Yeah. My build, I have to actually go out and get the materials for it, but so far I've consumed something like 40,000 blocks of sand to make glass.
Wow.
The way to make glass is in Minecraft you make an oven out of iron, right? Is it iron, I think?
No, it's cobble.
Okay, you make a stove out of cobblestone, and then in order to get glass, you have to put sand inside the oven, and then a little timer kind of ticks away like it's cooking the sand, and then you get a block of glass. I mean, I don't want to get too far off topic since we're supposed to just be talking about Linux gaming and how Linux is a viable platform for gaming, and we don't need to keep saying, is this the year of Linux gaming? Like, it's going to explode. Because the point of like Osiris's article that he linked to that we're talking about is that, it already is. We already game on Linux. We already, so Linux as a gaming platform, it's already here. It's here to stay, and it's only going to get better and better. But to kind of just finish off my statement about Minecraft is, it can be really fun and interesting because of all the stuff that you can make. It's not just like you don't just have you have a tree that grows up out of the ground and you want to make a table. You have to take that wood and then you have to chop it up so that it becomes planks, and then you got to take the planks and put them together with other planks. So Minecraft can be, like I said, originally I didn't want to have anything to do with it. I thought it would be boring as hell, but it quickly sucked me into its world, and I started up my own little Minecraft server, and I haven't been on it in a while, I have to admit, because like I said, I've been away from gaming and whatnot for almost 2 months now, but I'm going to start getting back to it and checking out what Atomic's built, and another one of our online buddies, Swoop 2000. He builds a lot of stuff on there, and another person that's on the server, Gamer Girl, she builds stuff on there. But so yeah, I mean, if you've never played Minecraft, check it out sometime. It can be a lot of fun, and like Osiris said, it does work on Linux. Works great on Linux.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We just want to address something that Coked Up Cannery, I guess that's how you say it, said in the chat. Yeah, I think firmware does have something to do with the problems with HDMI and the scaling and all that too. So your age of your TV is definitely.
He builds a lot of stuff on there. Whoops, sorry about that. I didn't realize that I didn't have the chat open.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for dropping by, Cooked Up Canary. And
D-Man.
Yeah.
My favorite drifter.
Right.
Yeah, so that is an issue. There are some, I don't know if I want to say compatibility issues, but there's some issues with hardware and firmware and according to Linux, because you got to realize, in my opinion, Linux just came to its own within the last 5-6 years. So there's probably a lot of stuff out there that just doesn't work. That's not just a Linux problem, because there's a lot of stuff when you moved from XP to Windows 7 that wouldn't work at all. So, you know, when you buy hardware, you have to be mindful of what you're putting together in any circumstance.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and that's something to point out that I don't know if everybody understands or realizes that, you know, when hardware manufacturers make their hardware, let's say that it's a wireless USB dongle or a wireless USB stick. Now, you know, the manufacturer made that using, you know, certain like a chip, a certain chipset, and in order for that chipset to be able to work, you know, there has to be a driver. The driver is what allows the, you know, the operating system to utilize that hardware to do what it's supposed to do. And in Linux, oftentimes there was no driver written for Linux, so it has to be reverse engineered and then, you know, made so that it does work in Linux. So that's one of the things that I think that people don't realize, that, you know, Linux is kind of behind in that regard a little bit, just because it doesn't have the support from the hardware manufacturers like Windows does, or Mac even. Is that, you know, the community most times has to come up with these solutions for drivers, so it does lag behind just a little bit.
And
Yeah.
most of the time, when they're making a proprietary driver, they've got all the documentation for the hardware there. But when you're making an open source driver, you don't have that documentation, so you got to probe around for what the hardware can actually do. And sometimes you just don't get it right.
Yep.
And in the Windows world, since it is very commercially driven, usually they just throw away support after X years. So the problems exist for everybody. Most people just don't realize it because they're accustomed to it. You know, if you go from an XP machine to a Windows 7 machine, your printer might work, it might not work. This little obscure mouse you bought at the flea market might work, and it might not work. Who knows? Same thing, just different story.
Right.
That's actually something of Windows that I've never understood. Both Linux and Mac OS, for basic peripherals, will just load a driver, but Windows has to install it.
Yeah, because
Right. Yep.
we put the driver in the kernel, and they do not.
Right. Most you know, most current up to date and popular hardware has the driver, or in Linux it's called a module. It already has the module built right into the kernel, right? So which is the core of the operating system. You know, it's how the software interfaces with the hardware. You know, is the modules or the drivers, and those are all built in to the kernel. I remember when a new piece of hardware does come out, it'll be, you know, you'll have to compile the source code and then install the driver and load the driver manually in Linux, you know, up until the kernel gets an update, so that then they can include the kernel, or that that module or that driver in the kernel. Yeah. And, you know, so that's just the way it goes sometimes.
And I think part of that is because Windows has professional or commercial partners, so it's not an issue. You know it's going to get supported if it's a new piece of hardware, and the hardware company will support that. And not only that, they'll also throw on top of that application stacks or packages for additional features. And that's why I think it's better to install it on Windows instead of putting it in the kernel in Windows, as far as a commercial and a business standpoint goes.
Right, that makes sense. Yeah.
Like I got a G110 keyboard from Logitech, which is a very popular gaming keyboard, and none of the macros work, and none of the LED changing color stuff doesn't work under Linux because Logitech did not write an application for Linux, which is all part of the driver stack in Windows.
And from what you told me about the keyboard, it sounds like it's not even following proper conventions, because there's quite a few extra key codes that you can use in the standard specification that they could have just used for those macro keys.
Yeah, which that actually reminds me of a very good point about gaming hardware in Linux. When you have this gaming hardware, very rarely are they following standard convention. When they throw these macro keys on there, what the macro key actually does is not send a chain of commands or a chain of keystrokes to the operating system. It interacts with its own driver and says this is what we want to do, because you can also do stuff like timing, like different keystrokes, like hold this key for 3 seconds, then hold this key for 2 seconds. So it can get complicated if you have the driver application to utilize all the features. Gaming hardware is also a sore point for me when it comes to, or something I would like to see approved upon in the future.
Well, definitely. I mean, that goes to the that SteelSeries Sensei mouse that I have. I mean, it's a $90 gaming mouse, whatever. You know, competitive players use it and everything. But sadly, I can't adjust any of the DPI settings or the custom buttons. I can't adjust any of that in Linux. I have to boot into Windows. You know, so that is definitely a sore spot. You know, with Linux is the gaming hardware, the keyboards and the mice. You know, for sure.
And the same is true of my M65.
Yeah. And hopefully that's something they take a look at, especially when the Steam machines come out, because me personally, I like big, flashy, and shiny stuff. I want the mid-size to full-size rig with all the coolest, latest gaming hardware with the LEDs and all that great stuff. Especially like Asus and MSI and Gigabyte, all their motherboards. They also use an application to control their features too. So all that stuff kind of just vanishes in the thin air if you switch operating systems. Can it be fixed or done? Yes, but not usually through a GUI, and then you'll usually end up editing some type of config file or something. Or it's just stuff I don't want to fool around with. Like right now, my fans are blowing at full speed. I've got 8 fans in my computer. When you have 8 fans blowing at full speed, it becomes pretty annoying.
Wait, and that's because why?
Because the motherboard fan headers are controlled by the ASRock application in Windows.
Oh,
So
okay.
I mean, I could go to the UEFI or whatever it's called, or the BIOS. I'm just gonna call it the BIOS. The BIOS and manually configuring myself, but I don't go in the BIOS unless I need to. So that's definitely a thing. Features, hardware features is a thing now.
Yep. All right, well, we just hit an hour for the podcast. I don't know, what were your guys' thoughts on how long we were going to go for?
About an hour with 15 minutes or so buffer either way, up or down.
Okay.
Yeah, that works for me.
All right, well, we'll finish off our topics, or at least we'll do a couple more. I mean, you know, it has been an hour. We only got we've been staying right around 2 viewers to 4 viewers. You know, it's our first week. We're getting our feet wet here. But the next topic is The Witcher 3 is coming to Linux. And that is great news for us Linux gamers, because, you know, the more AAA titles that come to Linux, the better. Because that's only going to bring, you know, that's only going to bring basically, you know, you got to have a large type company, you know, like DICE or Bungie or Activision or some of these huge time developers or producers or whatever. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what they are, but you gotta have that big of a name. Get some Linux games out there so that it can get some more exposure as a viable platform to make money on. That's just my opinion.
I think that's a good. I think that's a fact. uh, as much as Linux is about freeness and open sourceness and sharing kumbaya, blah blah blah, uh, there has to be money to be made when you're talking about gaming. These people are not making games for free, therefore they need to profit. So, and not only that, I'm hoping for The Witcher 3 that the release date is parodied on all platforms, including Linux, and not these 6 month or year delay times that we've been seeing so far. Which is acceptable because I can understand the circumstance. But moving forward, I would like to see Linux as just as premium as a platform as any other platform. So when Witcher 3 comes out on Windows and on an Xbox or wherever it comes out on, I would like to see it come out on Linux. And I think when people start seeing that also, that is being taken seriously from the publisher side, they'll give it a more of a chance or more of a thought.
I was looking at the title of this particular item, and I was thinking, well, that's not really news.
Yeah, I think. Go ahead.
You know, if they put Witcher 2 on Linux, it makes sense that they're going to put Witcher 3 on Linux.
Yeah.
The only question is when.
When and how. Hopefully they don't do the whole Eon wrapper thing again. Since they've known since development that was going to happen. Hopefully that's not a thing anymore. Because native is obviously the best way to go every time.
Well, I'm trying to find this article that The Witcher 3 is coming to Linux. It's supposed to be on gamingonlinux.com. I'm not seeing it. Where did it go?
I'll put it in the chat.
Must be an older article because I'm not seeing it.
Right there. I linked it in group
All
chat.
right. All right. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, if they kind of like what you said before, you know, if it has a wrapper, you know, I don't really care, just as long as it works and it works good. It works, you know, equivalent to what you have in Windows. I mean, that's what you know, a lot of gamers are complaining about with The Witcher 2 is they're blaming it on the Eon wrapper that it runs poorly on Linux, and you know, it kind of is kind of bad publicity for Linux gaming. You know, that hey, The Witcher 2 came out for Linux, but it only runs at 15 frames per second. You know, and that, you know, and if you're not really knowledgeable on, you know, what Eon or what Wine, what those really are, you know, then you just pretty much are putting two and two and saying, okay, well, Linux gaming doesn't work. You know, so it's unfortunate that The Witcher 2 was released in the manner that it was, with a wrapper that, you know, they supposedly, I looked into it a little bit, the people that developed Eon, the specific wrapper, you know, they said that they developed it from the ground up, you know, and that it was, you know, just as good as Wine or better, but yet the Witcher 2 is proof that the Eon wrapper, there's still work to be had with it, you know.
Yeah. Well, to put towards this what you were saying earlier, I don't have a problem with wrappers, especially when you're talking about a game that has already been released and probably should not even be getting any more attention at this point. That's, to me, is 100% fine. But when you're talking about a brand new AAA title like The Witcher 3, that cannot be done in a wrapper whatsoever, because there's some people out here, I think myself included, who when we buy gaming hardware, gaming level hardware, so stuff that's definitely more expensive than your average PC, I would definitely want to see all of my hardware being put to full gaming use and not translation use or being wasted through poor optimization. I mean, when you have an i5 or an i7 and a 760 or an 270X and you're getting 15 frames per second, even if you were getting 60 frames per second, you're losing some of that performance through the layer, yeah, through the layer. And some of us care about that stuff, and I know I care about it. Well, as long as it's over 60, I'm happy with it. But there's going to definitely be a hit somewhere along the way.
Right. Yep.
But like I said, I can understand though for Witcher 2. I mean, that game was released. I don't even know when, 2011, 2012, something like that.
Yeah, so I mean it's already 2-3 years old almost, right?
Yeah, so I'm very happy that they went back and visited something that they really had no need to or no incentive to.
So wait, who was the one that did it? The port,
Who
you know?
did the Witcher 2 port?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not sure. We can look that up real quick though. Um, I don't know if the
Virtual programming.
yeah I don't know about those guys. I've never heard of them.
Yeah, I haven't either. I guess they're the ones that came up with the Eon wrapper.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. Uh, I mean, I'm sure they did it with the funding from the developers of Witcher 2. I have no idea how. I have no idea how that works out. Like, but I know one thing's for sure. When you're talking about business, there's always some money involved, and they're driven by money. And I understand that, which is acceptable. So the fact that they even went back and took a look at this game and brought it, I'm happy with. But I mean, I don't think any of us have heard of what is it called, Aeon
Eon, yeah.
before Witcher 2 came out. So how much beta testing? There could have been no beta testing, no public beta testing for the actual wrapper until Witcher 2 came out.
Yeah, that's true.
Which
Just
makes
a
me
little-
wonder what kind of hardware they were testing it on in private.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, shit. Well, here's a little bit about Eon. Just, I know it's a little bit off topic, but it says we have an established and robust technology known as Eon, which was created from the ground up for gaming. It is a fully native implementation of essential Windows technologies such as Direct3D, developed with support from our close relationships with Fortune 500 hardware and software technology companies. Our technology allows us to be flexible with all games, providing a fully optimized and native runtime for each game, giving the player the best available experience under Mac and Linux. It is also possible to deliver a Windows-based game to these platforms without source code, an important factor where developer licensing may be restricted.
Now, when was this made? Does it say? Like, what era? The time period are we talking?
When was Eon made?
Yeah.
The wrapper? I'm not sure.
Because what instantly comes into my mind when you read that is, well, Wine does that, and they do it for free, and they didn't need Fortune 500 companies to help them do that. You know, I don't want to take shots at these guys because I'm sure they do great work, but it just sounds like if they did it like last year and then got everything working within a year's time, that's amazing. But if they started this in 2004,
Right.
and this is where we're at now, then that's not cool.
Right. Well, it says that the company was started in the year 2000. They have grown their partnerships and technologies. Now work with Square Enix, 2K Games, Epic, Codemasters, Techland, and CD Projekt Red. They're based in the UK. They're responsible for the Mac versions of both Unreal Engine 3 and 4 game engines. Yeah, the company is just called Virtual Programming.
Doesn't get any more generic than that. Kind of makes me think Illuminati for some reason, but whatever. Yeah, well, you know, I don't knock those guys' works. I'm sure it's not easy getting Windows games to run on Linux. I know it's not easy getting Windows games running on Linux, and
Right. I mean, that's definitely clear. Obviously, otherwise there wouldn't be all these issues that we have. But to Tomic's point, yeah, it's like, what the hell did they use when they were testing out the game?
Probably one subset of hardware.
A Titan? They were using a GTX Titan or what? And
Quad SLI Titan Zs.
Yeah, right.
Probably. You know what? That's a good possibility because they're probably developers or working some type of developer firm, so they probably have really nice GPUs for rendering and computation.
Yeah.
And unless they open beta test it, you're never gonna know what the other regular people's problems are.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
So that'll be something to see. So do we have a release date about The Witcher 3 or no?
No,
I think it keeps getting pushed back.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
But Witcher 3 is
Like
one of those
every
games. Witcher 3 is going to be one of those games that's going to get consistently pushed back, but that's because the developer of this game, I can't think of their name right offhand. They make like great games. There's usually not much to complain about when they release a game. It's not like EA where you know it's going to come out on this date and this date only, but it might work and it might not work. Witcher 3, Witcher games have been great. Except for Witcher 1 on PC, which, it could have used some work too.
Well, I guess since we're talking about The Witcher 3, we might as well bring up something that was actually just recently tweeted, was the fact that Borderlands, the prequel, is coming to Linux.
That's a major.
That's huge news, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, that's gigantic. And I guess it was just found out about 14 hours ago because it was in Take-Two Interactive's financial report that they're going to be releasing the game for Linux.
And who makes Borderlands again? I can't.
2K.
2K. Okay. So now 2K
Well,
is
I'm sorry. 2K is the publisher. I don't know who. I think Take-Two Interactive is the developer.
I wonder if they're just gonna what do you call it? Get handed over to a third party for the port, or if they do this in house, or how does this work out? I just hope it's native. Whatever it is, I just hope it's native, and then I'll be happy. But that's great.
It says the developer for Borderlands 2 is Gearbox.
That's right. Yeah, Gearbox.
Okay. The publisher is 2K, right? 2K Games. Yeah. Okay.
Never had a problem with 2K. Matter of fact, they make great games.
Yeah, they're huge in the sports side of it, right?
Yeah, they got pushed out by EA though. Well, as far as football goes, that's a whole different story. Like it's EA is trying to be the devil. Like at every single turn, they do just horrific things. Like ethically, not just gaming wise, just ethically and morally horrific things. And they pretty much just pushed all other football games out by doing a lock-in deal with the NFL, so there's no competition at all.
EA did that?
Yeah, they did that years ago. That's why there's no other football games. You can only buy Madden. There is no other football game.
Wow, I don't think I knew that. I mean, it makes sense now that you say that. Yeah, there's no other. Wow. I'll be right back, guys. I gotta use the restroom.
All right.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll just go ahead while they're on break and go to the next topic real quick and let them jump in. And that would be Google purchases Twitch for $1 billion, which they just made that official as of like a week ago, I think. And I think a lot of people already seen this coming. And according to Ubu, we're already starting to see the changes because people are now having their audio muted because of copyright, which to me, this can be nothing but a negative thing. Now, I don't think Twitch is going to take a major hit. Matter of fact, I think they're just going to continue growing just because whenever you have multimedia platforms, the most important thing is having a centralized hub of viewers and which Twitch has. Like, I mean, where else are you gonna go? People have already said they've went to Hitbox and other places that are live streaming services and couldn't have the amount of success just because the amount of viewer base is not on that platform. You can't have 300 viewers if there's not 300 viewers on that platform just to stumble across your content. So it looks like the big company wins again. I don't know if this is necessarily a bad thing. I'm sure with the bad things will come perks and bonuses and improvements on the Twitch infrastructure and the feature set. One thing I hope they get rid of is the lag between you streaming and the commenters, the viewers. To me, that's a huge minus. But I know they do that on purpose for some reasons, especially for competitive reasons. But for your average streamer, I don't see any reason why there should be any type of lag between more than, say, 5 to 10 seconds. That way you can interact with your viewers in real time. But according to this article, Google purchased YouTube for $1.65 billion in 2006.
Well, we move on to the next topic.
Yeah, I just went ahead and moved on to it. You can it's the one about Google and Twitch.
Yep.
Google purchased YouTube in 2006 for $1.65 billion.
Wow.
And like I was saying earlier, there might be some negatives according to the users when it comes to this purchase, but I think that they'll continue to move on and grow regardless, because the most important thing about a media platform is having a built-in user base. Without the built-in user base, there really is no other options. I've seen people mention that they hated Twitch for whatever reason, they moved on to Hitbox or something else, and they're semi-big streamers, but they could not get the viewership because the viewers weren't on that platform to even stumble across their content and create those numbers. So
yeah.
Twitch isn't going anywhere.
Right. Yeah, I know that I Am Apropos is one guy that, well, it was a whole bunch of them actually. I'm trying to think. Deadpool on Twitter, he had some issue with Twitch where Twitch banned his channel, and they never told him why. So him and I Am Apropos and Jay's 2 Cents and Barnacles and a bunch of other people all moved from Twitch over to Hitbox, because of that. And all of a sudden, a week later, this Deadpool person ends up, his Twitch channel gets turned back on, and he didn't know why. Well, he moved right back over to Twitch, where his 1,000 viewers were already over there. And Paul, I Am Apropos, he tried staying on Hitbox, and I was supporting him on Hitbox, and he just couldn't, he couldn't get any viewers. That's the problem. I mean, I was streaming on Hitbox for probably 6 months, and I think I only have 100 followers, and my live streams, most I think I've ever seen in one of my Hitbox live streams is like 10 people.
Yeah.
Maybe 15, I think, and that was like I was doing giveaways a lot. Give away whatever $5-10 worth of something. Whether it's Xbox Live points or iTunes points or something. And the viewers come when there's a giveaway, but then I was live streaming 3 days a week and religiously, and it just it's really tough to grow with if there's no viewer base there, then like Osiris just said, if there's nobody there to even stumble on your channel, then it's really hard to grow. It's impossible. I mean, but how many viewers, if you were to look at how many viewers Twitch has, or how many people have a Twitch account, that gives you a base idea of how many people could actually at least stumble onto your channel.
Yep. The only thing that Twitch needs to change is their method of finding new channels. But other than that, that's completely right. I don't think there will be another. Just like there's not a competitor to YouTube, there won't be there will never be not never, but there won't be a competitor to Twitch for a long time unless another huge company comes in and just simply drops a fully working out the box streaming service that's matched to Twitch and also gets the promotion that Twitch gets. Like Twitch is pretty much the default amongst all gamers and competitions.
Right. Oh yeah. I mean, shit. We were talking about this this past Monday or whatever about how many viewers, like a competitive game, like League of Legends or
Dota.
World of Warcraft or Star. What's the other one? I don't know. Some of these,
StarCraft.
StarCraft. Thank you. Yeah. These games, there was like 8 million viewers at one time. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah,
That's just crazy.
Pulling that amount of subscriber base from Twitch is going to be no small feat. That's for sure. I mean, several people have tried to compete with YouTube, and I think the closest thing there is out right now is I can't even think of their name because they're unimportant. Vimeo, maybe.
Motion?
Daily Motion,
that's the one.
Yep. Or Vimeo, yep.
And they're nowhere close to the numbers YouTube gets. Like I can't remember what the number was of videos watched per second, but the number is ridiculous. It's astronomical. Like the amount of videos watched per second and people watching them per second on YouTube is like most of the world, really.
Yeah. So another big thing related to Google buying Twitch for $1 billion or whatever. People or it just was hitting the social media sites a couple hours ago about Twitch turning the audio off of people's previous broadcasts. So it looks like Google is already starting to implement their algorithm that looks for copyright content. So those of you that aren't familiar, YouTube has computer bots in the background that uses a special algorithm to find out if you are using copyrighted material in your video. Whether the easiest way is to look for audio, since that's an easy way to find if something's copyrighted. So YouTube has these algorithms that if you're using copyrighted audio in your content, your video will it'll either turn into being a paid video for the person who is the owner of the audio. Like they might all of a sudden your video will have a link on it to purchase the song through iTunes, and ads that play on it will now actually be paid to the person who owns that audio content, or your video audio will all of a sudden be removed from your video, or your whole video, it just gets taken down. It's called a copyright strike. And if you get 3 of those, you're actually banned from YouTube forever. It's actually in their rules that if you've ever been banned from YouTube, you can't start a new channel. That's one of the reasons that Keemstar, he actually has had like 5 or 6 channels get banned from YouTube, because it all stems back to his original channel that he started years and years ago that got banned for having 3 copyright strikes. And someone keeps telling on him that he's DJ Keemstar or whatever his real name is, that he's been banned from YouTube. So it looks like Twitch now, since bought by Google, is now starting to do the same thing with their previous broadcasts. And they've also made a bunch of changes to their video on demand section. Basically, video on demand is your previous broadcasts, So people are trying to play back their Twitch broadcasts, and the audio is being muted. That's what was being put all over social media a couple hours ago.
Yeah, and I think that's a primary example of the disconnect between big businesses and regular people and users. The reason that you can't get things fixed is because you can't talk to a person. There is nobody to talk to.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, I've just kind of gotten sore with most of the streaming sites myself for a different reason.
Yeah, and I think that's just a hard thing to get into also. Even though that, because like I said before, it's hard for a new user to get on Twitch and get any type of random uh, people stumbling upon the channel, because the way Twitch works is if you don't have a lot of viewers, you get pushed all the way to the bottom. And how many channels are on top of yours?
Yep.
Yeah, there's that.
Yeah.
There's also a thing where if I'm streaming on YouTube right now, I can still monetize the stream, but you can't get partnered with Twitch or Hitbox until you get some serious following.
Yeah, that's true. That's completely true. I don't understand though. That's what we was talking about the other day. I don't really understand why Twitch though, because they already have Google Hangouts, they already have YouTube live streaming. Now they have Twitch also. Like they're obviously Twitch makes money, but there has to be there to me. There's a underlying reason why Google wants Twitch.
Yeah.
We are the Borg.
They're just
Well, I
buying
mean,
up everything.
I would say it's because, that Google saw the growth that Twitch has been having over the last couple of years. I mean, if you, like I said earlier, if you look at the amount of viewers on that Twitch receives, like TV networks don't even get that many viewers for a large event on Twitch. I mean, it's
Yeah, but
crazy.
usually
TV
when a
networks have boring programming.
usually when a large corporation buys out something like a Twitch, it's usually because of something in there that they want. The coding, the technology, the something. There's something in Twitch that Google wants, I believe, and that's why they bought them. Uh, that I mean that's my thought on that. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Because Google
Well,
doesn't have to worry about Twitch. Twitch isn't a competitor to Google, and Google is not worried about making so worried about making money that they have to buy competition. So I think there's something technology wise that Twitch uses that they want to own the patent on, I believe. Now when
yeah.
it
I see what you're saying. I mean, I think it just has to do with. I see what you're saying. I don't know really what that is, but I think another reason was just for the simple fact that YouTube has the the market on static videos or pre-recorded content. They wanted to take it. Their live streaming never really caught on. I mean, I think people have tried to do live stream on YouTube, and for some reason it doesn't seem to ever be as successful as Twitch is for whatever reason. So I think YouTube saw that, or Google saw that and was just like, if we're gonna forget investing more money to try to fix our own live streaming deal, we're just gonna just buy Twitch.
yeah, that's a valid point. I don't know. I always feel like there's something devious going on when companies start acquiring other companies, and it's never what we think it is until 5 years down the road when they take over the whole world.
Right. Yeah. All right. Well, it looks like we have another viewer in here. Josh Martin just tweeted me on Twitter, on the Twitterverse.
That is our friend Joshua Martin
What's up, Josh? Oh, he's your friend?
on Twitter.
Gotcha. He says that he agrees with Osiris. YouTube does have an underlying reason for acquiring Twitch. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's something more to it than just what I said. Time will tell, possibly what that underlying reason is. If it's just if it's more so than the just getting the live streaming market cornered,
My chat is broken.
My chat's not moving either, but that doesn't mean I don't know if nobody's. Let me type something in. Hello.
Like, I didn't see the last comment. But,
Oh, I just typed in hello.
yeah, I saw that.
I think it's working. All right, so that pretty much that's it for Google acquiring Twitch for $1 billion. Do we want to continue on, because this next topic I can see being really long?
I think we've
Let's call it.
Yeah, we've exceeded. It's an
Okay.
hour and a half now.
Right. All right, so I guess we're kind of all agreeing we'll keep the live stream or the podcast around an hour plus or minus 15 minutes for the future. Thank you to all those that came out and viewed the live stream. We really appreciate it. The podcast. We're new at the podcast thing, and hopefully we can improve on a few things here. What, do you guys have anything further to add?
Yeah, I definitely want to do this more often. Hopefully, you guys who did come through, we appreciate you, and hopefully we pick up some more people. And also, you can also find us on Twitter, and if you want to have us talk about something or you want to hear about something, by all means, leave us a comment or whatnot on Twitter, in the comment section, or wherever, however you think you can get a hold of us, the best kind of way.
Yeah, the easiest way to get a hold of me is on Twitter. That's for sure. So if you ever wanted a topic covered on our Linux technology and gaming podcast, we still got to come up with a name too, guys. But if you guys want a topic covered, just tweet either any one of us, or at least me. That's the easiest way to get a hold of me, is through Twitter.
Yeah, we'll try to leave the links to all these articles down in the comment section, and with our Twitter handles, our screen names, whatever they're called.
Yeah, I'll add that to the description, definitely. Our Twitter handles, yep. So, you got anything to add, Atomic?
Not really.
Well, that's that.
All right. Well, that's that. So that wraps up week 1, or episode 1 of currently being called the Linux Tech and Gaming Podcast. Thanks, everybody, for coming, and that's about it. We'll see you next. What are we going to do? Next Wednesday, right?
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. Next Wednesday it is, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. See you guys then. Later.